someone said to me, "What do we have to look forward to when we get older?" And I was stumped. I didn't know. I was only looking at, putting a band-aid on things that we don't necessarily need to expect to have or experience, and that we shouldn't be looking forward to as we get older. And so I went back to the drawing board and started to look at what we have to look forward to. And I was shocked because there's so much. It just wasn't being talked about.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Low-Key Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Juvel De Lima, and today I'm joined by the incredible Dr. Deborah Heiser, psychologist, TEDx speaker, award-winning researcher, and the host of After 40 podcast. She's also the founder of the Mentor Project, a global initiative connecting experts with the next generation with a career dedicated to redefining aging and the power of mentorship. Deborah brings a wealth of knowledge on making an impact through storytelling and shared wisdom. I'm excited to dive into her journey and insights on podcasting. Welcome to the show, Deborah.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Yes, of course. It was a pleasure having you today on my podcast. And I'm excited to know more about you, of course, and to learn more about you. So let's start by just give us a little bit of a background. How did you start with what you're doing right now?
Sure. So I did not know what a psychologist was when I was younger. And
Yes.
I became a psychologist looking at research in everything no one wants to have or get. So I used to do research in depression, frailty, end of life issues, things like that. So I really was thinking, wow, this is great. I'm doing a great job helping out. And I went to a dinner party with a bunch of colleagues, and someone said to me, "What do we have to look forward to when we get older?" And I was stumped. I didn't know. I was only looking at, putting a band-aid on things that
Yes.
we don't necessarily need to expect to have or experience, and that we shouldn't be looking forward to as we get older. And so I went back to the drawing board and started to look at what we have to look forward to. And I was shocked because there's so much. It just wasn't being talked about. Only the things that scare us were being highlighted in the news and in the media and everywhere else. So I did a pivot and wanted to look at what happens to us in midlife. And there's a developmental stage, a milestone that we hit where we have a desire to give back to others. We can do that through
Yes.
philanthropy, volunteering, and mentoring. And when I was asking a bunch of mentors all about why they do it, I was curious, what would drive a person to want to give back? When most of us are taught we should be taking things in so we can be building a better life for ourselves. So I was
Yes.
talking to all these people, and they all were saying the same thing. They were saying, no, I need to feel relevant. I need to feel like I'm validated for everything I've ever done and learned. I need to know that what I did was meaningful to the world, that I didn't just
Yes.
take up space. So, in doing this, I started to find people that felt like they didn't have access to give back to people, that they were filled with all this knowledge and no one was around in their vicinity to give back. So, did like a little test pilot in 2017 and started the Mentor Project
Yes.
unofficially. And that was to get some of the top leaders to mentor the next generation based on psychology and research.
Yes. That was inspiring, and it was start 2014, right?
It was really, we got everybody together in 2017 to
Yes.
really get, say, a few of the people into schools so that they could start seeing kids. We incorporated in 2019. So there was a
Okay.
timeline where 2017, we were really starting to see if it would work, if it was an idea that,
Yes.
people would resonate with people. In 2018, I gave a TED talk about it. And then 2019, we officially started.
Wow. And that's when also you started your podcast.
The podcast started later. It started a couple years ago. So
Mm.
I was writing, and still do write for Psychology Today. on the right side of 40 is what it was called. And
Yes.
so the podcast After 40 was developed by ITSP Magazine. And so when I do podcast for them, it is all about everything we can expect in midlife and later.
Yes. So that what inspired you to start the show.
Yes, yes, because so many people were really resonating with the idea that there's something to look forward to in midlife. And there are also other things that people weren't talking about, like menopause and
Yes.
all of these other issues that people were just that were concerning people, but no one was openly talking about them. So the idea was to put a podcast out that would reach
Yes.
people, maybe like people in tech or other places that aren't necessarily seeking out, personal development information.
Yes. So, and how has your perspective on aging evolved through your conversations?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's evolved since I first started and was doing research and looking only at the negative things in our lives.
Yes.
But it's really, from the conversations that I've been able to have on the podcast, I've learned so many new things. I've learned that
Yes.
even when there are developments that we have in our life, or shifts or changes, we can either look at them as challenges, like a hurdle that we have to jump over, or as a door that's opening for us, which is an opportunity. And most people
Yes.
I talk to are looking at the second half of our lives as an opportunity, endless opportunities, the time that we can use to pivot and change, try new things, because that's the time
Yes.
in our life that I'm hearing from everybody that even if you're experiencing physical changes that you're not in love with, like menopause or other things, you can pivot and shift and still do some of the things that really emotionally matter to you.
Yes. And that's how podcasting really help you spread your voice, your message, like that. So
Yes.
how does podcasting help you spread the words that you want to share with other people?
Well, there are a lot of people who don't like to read. That is
Yes.
something that now that we live in a much more digital age, that isn't a negative thing. It's that people can absorb and take in information in new ways. And podcasts offer an amazing opportunity to listen on your way to work.
Yes.
They offer an amazing opportunity to listen while you're working out, to taking a walk, to doing things. So you can be active and doing something else while you're listening to a podcast. And so many people want to receive their information in this audio format, sometimes video as well, if they're looking at it on
Yes.
YouTube. But you can't reach those people through books and through blogs in the same way.
Yes.
And so I think that, I'm so excited that we're able to connect with people around the world in this platform that's grown like unbelievably. It's taken over radio.
Yes.
It's a whole new animal. And anybody can do it, which is so exciting because you could find somebody that might seem kind of obscure out there talking about things that really interest you, and you don't have to rely on the big named or big box names that are out there in podcasting. So it's just so open and amazing that we can access just about anything we want to.
Yes, and you can have different guests from different countries talking about their life. And do you have a target guest to have on your podcast?
I my target guests are anyone who has any information on any new topic. My next guest that I really want to have on would be somebody from an organization that works with doing social prescribing, and work in some area like that. That's a new hot topic that's really
Yes.
talking about connections. And that's the next sort of big topic I want to tackle in the podcast.
Yes, and that is exciting. And of course, about with the mentor project, you're all about connecting experts with the next
Mhm.
generation. So how has podcasting played a role in spreading that mentorship message?
Oh my goodness. So I've been on about 140 podcasts since,
Wow.
um, in not even a year. And the amazing thing about podcasting is that I can let people know about this nonprofit and the book that I've written so that
Yes.
people can access it. We offer free mentorship to students around the world. If people don't
Wow.
know about it, they can't access it. What we're giving away is something that people would pay a ton of money to receive if they were early stage career. If you can have an astronaut or a well-known artist or an astrophysicist talk to you about something that you don't even know what they do, and now you might be inspired to go do something interesting and new. We have all
Yes.
of these really amazing people that if we can get the word out, and podcasting does that, to people all around the world, then those students around the world are able to say, maybe their parents are listening. They'll say, hey, go sign up. Or maybe a friend is listening, or maybe they themselves are listening and they can sign up.
Yes. And if since it is free, right?
Mhm.
So um where can we find you? Like, are you everywhere on social media, like promoting the community?
Yes. So you can go to mentorproject.org if you're a student, and you can click the
Yes.
Become a Mentee button and fill out a
Yes.
form and become a mentee, get connected with some of our mentors. If you work in a school and you say, well, I want some mentors to come and speak in my school, you can click the contact us button and somebody will get in touch
Wow.
with you and we can do that. It's really accessible. I would say go directly to the website. People will reach out to me. It can take a little bit longer because sometimes I am not sure if they're looking for a mentor or what it is. But if you go directly to the website, you get plugged in right away and then you're off and running. And so, that is a person's best bet.
Yes, and that is also the best way to give back, as you have said, since
Yes.
a lot of people struggling find ways to connect also to someone who can inspire them, motivate
Mhm.
them. So, as someone like me, can I join the community, find someone who can help me with what I do, something like that?
So right now we are only giving free mentorship to students. We're hoping to open it up to others, maybe in a different capacity, but our main goal right now is to get every student free mentorship. The way that people can also, get involved is volunteering with us because we really do work on that generativity principle where people are giving back either in a volunteering way. People help us with fundraising, with getting the word out, so all of those things to help us so a person could get involved in that way. If you're looking for mentorship, the other way you can access the Mentor Project for free information is that you can click our contact us button and you can still ask a question and we will be able to answer you. But we also have a YouTube page and you can look up information there and watch videos. And if there's a topic that you're interested in that you do not see something in, you can say, hey, is there anybody who could provide some information or content on this topic area? And then we can see if we can provide that at some point.
Yes, that is exciting. I visited your website and also your YouTube, and you do a lot of interesting things. And of course, you worn so many hats: researcher, speaker, author, and mentor. And of course, you have a new book launching. You launched new book. So, how does podcasting stands out as a platform for making an impact? Since you are focusing on it right now.
So, I wrote the book and I give talks, but those are done. It's done in that moment. A podcast kind of lives on. I can do a
Yes.
talk, and if it's for an organization, I don't know if it's going to be put out there for other people to listen to or to watch.
Yes.
The TED talk that I did is, but a podcast is, and my book is out there now. It is out there in audio format, which is good because that's like a podcast, so a person can listen similar to a podcast.
Yes.
But the difference between those really with podcasting is that podcasting can be put out in a lot of different ways and it stays out there. It isn't like it gets put on a shelf. It lives out there. And so a person can continue to access it. So every time you do an episode, it may be 3 months down the road that somebody's accessing your content and they may go through
Yes.
all of that content. But that stays out there in the YouTube world. A lot of people are putting their podcasts there. In all of the other podcasting platforms, there's now ways that people are embedding their podcasts into their websites and putting them
Yes.
out on their Substack sites in all kinds of different ways. So it has legs that some of the other things don't have in ways that
Yes.
others don't have.
Yes. And we also have a lot of ways to promote our podcast through social media.
Yeah.
Are you repurposing your podcast episodes, and do you have video podcasts or only audio podcast?
I have both. So they live on ITSP Magazine site. So I would definitely recommend checking out ITSP Magazine because they have a lot of different kinds of podcasts that are on their platform. So my podcasts live there as well as on the, other Apple and Spotify and all of those places. But if you wanted to go and watch them, they're there. And they also have ITSP Magazine has a YouTube site. So you can look at all of the podcasts that are created by all of their podcasters there as well. So that's kind of the nice thing about podcasting. So yeah, they get put out there all over the place.
Yes, that is exciting because as we know right now, most of our audience, our viewers, they are on social media.
Yeah.
And we can drive a lot of traffic to the full video, full episodes if we create such of a bite-sized contents for social media. I I started this podcast talking about people, about their story, what why they started their podcast. So I'm learning from them also, and talking about the challenges that they face growing their podcast. And one of them is like getting more views, more listeners, and at the same time downloads. So for you, what's been the biggest challenge doing podcasting?
For me, it has been the time that it takes because you really
Yes.
can't, it isn't like pressing a button and it's done. You have to look at it. Oftentimes there's some editing that has to happen, or, you need to look at it, then you have to upload it. It takes up space on your computer. So it's the things that are
Mm.
behind the scenes that are really the biggest issue for me because I have to put aside enough time to be able to do it. So you have to schedule the interviews, then you have to do the
Yes.
interviews, and then you have to, really work on the actual clip itself, audio and
Yes.
video if you do both, and then you have to get it out there. Then it's still not done because people need to know it's there. So you have to put it out onto social media to let people know it's available. So that's a
Yes.
lot for just one episode. A lot of people think that,
That is
oh, a
insane.
person just gets out there, has a conversation with somebody, and that's it. But there's a lot of all that behind the scenes stuff that takes place.
Yes, and that is also the one of the biggest problems and challenges, by the way, of most of the podcaster is the sharing the contents, because it takes a lot of time and effort, and sometimes you don't need to do that. And have you ever hired someone to do that for you, for you to focus on the things that you do?
Yes, I have. So with ITSP Magazine, if I don't have time to work on a video and I know it needs some work or some audio, they will do that. So I can hire them to fix it. I've had to do that on, I think, two of the podcasts. But I also, not for the podcasting, but for other things, my talks and, the podcasts that I've been on as a guest, I do hire somebody to do that, to put that out for me. And quite honestly, it's night and day. I'm terrible at it. She's great at it. Like, why would I do it
Yes.
myself if somebody else can do it better than me? And so it's made a big difference in my time. And also, I think it's better creatively having somebody else do it for me. Maybe somebody else is
Yes.
really creative, but I'm not.
Yes, and it's kind of delegation so that you
Mhm.
can focus on something that you are good at, and you can focus on something that where you can create a bigger impact because it
Yeah.
is in the back end. And right now, for people who wants to use podcasting to grow their career, find an opportunity, what is your advice for them?
Do it. There's no other way that people are going to know about you unless you put yourself out there. If you have something to say, you need to have people listen to you. And
Yes.
it's free in most cases or close to it to podcast. If
Yes.
you're on some sites, you are able to do it for free. Why would you waste free opportunities to either make a difference in the world or to make a
Yes.
difference in yourself or to further yourself? There's no other time that we've lived in where we have all of this free stuff available to us. Social media is free.
Yes.
And so if you want to podcast, don't wait, do it. Don't wait until you say, "Oh, I'm too shy." Just do it. Nobody's going to come after you and say, "Oh my gosh, you seemed like you were completely frightened and horrible on that podcast." Turn the video off and just do audio if you must,
Yes.
but do it.
Yes, what that is also one of my biggest challenge. As you can notice, I am not really can I speak clearly, and I'm stuttering. This is my 15th episode, and my first episode just launched last 2 weeks, and this week on my um fourth episode, and I am learning. Podcasting is a really great way to learn from other people, get
Mhm.
inspired, talk to them one on one. So this is kind of an opportunity for me to grow. And I every time I get a guest on my podcast, what I always said is thank you so much for being with me to the show. I really appreciate it because as someone who's struggling talking in front of people, um, it boosts my confidence hearing from someone saying that you can do it, just have to keep doing it, um, because you will never know, you will improve, just never stop. And of course you have to tie it back with the purpose why you do it, because there will come a time that you will gonna um, get burned out, you will gonna you know, you're gonna get tired. But if you have a purpose on what you're doing, you will gonna continue. And to follow up question to you, how does podcasting affect your career right now?
It helps mine because part of what I'm trying to do is make a movement for people to
Yes.
get more connected. And if I'm not connecting with people, how can I expect anyone else to connect? So it
Yes.
is helpful. I'm able to, in the by connecting with others, show how nice it is to connect with people, how it's
Yes.
wonderful to be able to learn from you and vice versa, and to make a network that's kind of like a spider web that's endless that we can have globally. So has it helped me and my career? Absolutely. I don't look at it as, well, I just am doing this podcast with you, Jovel, and now I am assuming that from after today I'm going to make millions of dollars now and
Yes.
get things out there. It's really that every single podcast that you do is a small incremental change. I think that the expectation that some people have that you should go viral or something immediately, it's not like that. It's really making slow incremental change as you grow
Yes.
and grow your network. And that's fine. That's an okay thing. That is helping your career.
Yes. And what do you think about the term? I have a guest on my podcast saying that podcasting is like borrowing value. What can you say about that?
They say it's borrowing value.
Yes.
I think it's adding value that you get to keep forever. I don't think I
Yes,
ever have to
exactly
give
right.
that value back to anybody. So when I listen to a podcast and I learn something, that's in me forever. You are a mentor to me when I listen to you on your podcast and I take that in and I incorporate that in. So I may pass that on
Yes.
to somebody else, but it never leaves me. It just continues it on out there. So I believe that it's a value add
Yes.
and it's exponential. So you may mentor one person that listens to your podcast. That person may then share it with somebody else. And you won't know how far out it goes. all you'll
Yes.
know is that it's out there living. So a little piece of you every time you do a podcast is exponentially growing out there. And so I believe that podcasting, as well as writing, as well as anything else, gets it's an exponential add to
Yes.
us.
Yes. And of course, this is also a great way to boost your reach, and of course to make other people know your service, like what happened to my previous episode, that right now I got my 100 subscribers on YouTube, and
Yay.
it's exciting. And I already have 1100 followers on TikTok, and
Wow, how many?
1100 followers.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, and one of my guests here on my podcast, he's just starting a community build. He builds community. She's living in a van, and with her wife, with her husband, sorry. And she's very excited that my audience get to know her.
Yeah.
She started a Facebook community where she promotes holistic healing, like that. In 2 days she got like 500 members on her private Facebook page, and she said most of that is from the audience that we create in my podcast. So it podcasting really helps us touch other people's audience, like you. If you have a an audience and I get invited in your podcast, your audience can be my audience,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
true.
that's a great way that we are not just borrowing value, that's is adding also value, because people
Yeah.
will follow you if they find value from you. That's a good
Exactly.
thing. Yes.
Yes.
And yes, sorry.
No, it does. You're exactly right. Every little bit adds, and I'm excited to hear how quickly you're growing in your social media,
Yes.
because that's showing that people are resonating to what you're saying, and that you're making impact, and that what you had to imagine if you never did your podcast, no one would hear that. No one would have that way that they could resonate with you. So as you're growing, you now know that your reach is getting out there and
Yes.
your impact is out there, and you are now adding to thousands of lives out there. Super cool.
Yes, and that is one of my reasons starting this podcast. Number one is to for me to be better, to learn from other people, be better on my speaking skills, communication skills, like that. And number two is to boost my service, because one of the reason of this is I'm helping podcasters. So to help them, I show them how I did it. So I just started my podcast last 2 weeks, and my followers grow. So I'm helping podcasters through social media content. I repurpose their contents. One
Yeah.
episode good for 1 month full of contents for social media, and like that. So like everything's connected. If you want
Yeah.
to do something, you just have to find way for you to make happy and at the same time to make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is really exciting right now, because in my 15th episode I get clients. They just got inspired by me, because I take risk. I get comfortable with my previous job, and I just resigned from my previous job last month and decided to full time in this car, talking to people. I get talking to people until in the morning, just sharing my journey, what I can do, like that. And it is amazing that this happened to me as someone who are here in US. I know here in Philippines, and talking to someone in different countries, like that.
Yeah.
So um, I still don't know yet how to end conversation. So what I always said is, if people wants to know more about you, where they can find you.
So you can find me at mentorproject.org, deborahheiser.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on YouTube. You just have to Google my name, Deborah Heiser, and you'll find me. And I do hope you'll check out my book on
Yes.
Amazon as well. because it really does show you everything that mentoring is and isn't. So you don't go out there and try mentorship and you're doing it a little bit, you're not following the exact rules and not getting all the benefits from it.
Yes, yes. So, thank you so much, everyone, for watching this episode. I hope you all learned from what we talk about here today. And if you have dreams, goals, whatever it is, you have to keep pushing, keep dreaming, because the end of the day, it's on you, it's for your family, and that's all. It's for your life to be happy. So, God bless you all. See you at the top, and bye bye.